Behind the glitter of reality TV, secrets often lurk. 90-Day Fiancé has given us dramatic breakups, shocking confessions, and unbelievable twists, but the story of Adnan Abdel Fattah and Tigerlily Taylor might be one of the darkest. It involves a secret gambling addiction, a $600,000 debt, religious pressure, betrayal, and a prison sentence that shook their marriage. According to sources, Adnan became entangled in nearly $600,000 of debt through online gambling. He pressured his wife, Tigerlily Taylor, to convert to Islam and also pressured her to help pay off his secret debt. When Adnan failed to repay the money, a lawsuit was filed, leading to his arrest. The court sentenced him to 6 months in prison. Under constant mental pressure, Tigerlily eventually divorced him and later became engaged to a man named Cody. Tigerlily Taylor wasn't just another face in London's social scene. With her elegant style and quiet charm, she had seen both the good and bad sides of fame. A model, free spirit, and daughter of music royalty, her life was anything but ordinary. Adnan Abdel Fattah came from a very different path. Raised with strict traditions, he was ambitious, determined, and craving validation. On 90-Day Fiancé, viewers saw him as mysterious and controlling. When their worlds collided, many doubted the relationship would last, but at first, it almost seemed like a fairy tale. They met at a private event in Dubai, introduced by mutual friends. Adnan was drawn to Tiger's striking presence, independence, and the way she challenged him. Tiger, meanwhile, saw a man with quiet confidence and exotic charm. She later admitted, "He made me feel like I was the only person in the room." Their romance blossomed as they traveled from Paris to Istanbul. Social media showed happiness. Adnan showered her with gifts, whispered promises of forever, and spoke passionately about their future. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Adnan seemed to have it all: a beautiful wife, luxury vacations, designer suits, but he had been fighting a private battle long before Tiger entered his life. He had discovered online poker in his early 20s and soon moved to high-stakes casinos, sports betting, and digital roulette. At first, he won small amounts, but losses quickly piled up. By the time he met Tiger, he was already tens of thousands in debt. He borrowed money quietly, shifted funds, and always maintained the image of wealth. What began as $10,000 in debt ballooned to nearly $600,000 over 2 years. Outwardly, Adnan lived lavishly, but behind closed doors, he was desperate. Late at night, he would gamble online, chasing the hope of winning it all back. Every loss deepened his anxiety, and every borrowed dollar tied him tighter to a future he couldn't escape. Tiger noticed changes. Adnan seemed stressed after checking his phone, had late-night absences, and sometimes appeared pale and tense. One night, she found him at 3 a.m., bloodshot eyes staring at betting numbers. He insisted it was work emails, but the unease in her chest grew. As the debt mounted, Adnan became controlling, anxious, and easily angered. He tried to pull Tiger closer, hoping her love could shield him from disaster. "You don't understand," he once said, voice breaking. "I need you to trust me. Just trust me no matter what." Tiger wanted to believe in the man she had fallen for, but slowly, gambling shadows crept into their lives. Religion was a defining part of Adnan's identity. Raised in a conservative household, his faith shaped his view of life and morality. Tiger came from a free-spirited, liberal background. She respected faith, but had never lived by strict codes. Love, to her, meant embracing differences. At first, Adnan seemed to admire her independence. But as gambling losses mounted, his approach to religion hardened. His devotion became stricter, almost obsessive. He prayed publicly, quoted scripture often, and reminded Tiger that she was expected to support him in his faith. "You should cover yourself more," he said one evening. Tiger was taken aback. "You knew who I was when you met me." "I haven't changed," she replied. "Exactly. And that needs to change. If we are truly going to build a life together, you should embrace my faith." "It's the only way this marriage will work," he responded. What sounded like a request soon became a demand. Behind the mask of religious devotion, Adnan's motives were more complicated. The crushing weight of his $600,000 debt left him feeling powerless, like his world was spinning out of control. Tigerlily's independence, once attractive to Adnan, now made him insecure. By pushing her to convert, he wasn't just trying to save her soul, he was trying to control her. He thought if she followed his faith, she would stay by his side and never leave when she discovered the truth. He pressured her constantly, bringing up religion during meals, leaving books about conversion on her nightstand, and asking pointed questions. Why won't you do this for me? Don't you love me enough? For Tigerlily, the pressure became suffocating. Arguments erupted more often. Why can't you accept me as I am? She cried. Adnan would snap back, but beneath his anger was desperation. He feared that Tiger, with her confidence and growing suspicion, would one day leave. Instead of honesty about his gambling debts, he tried to anchor her with faith. But the more he pushed, the more distant she became. Tigerlily felt trapped. She spoke to friends who advised caution. Faith should be a choice, one friend reminded her. Another warned, if he can't love you without changing you, maybe he doesn't love you at all. She wanted to believe their marriage could survive and tried small compromises, attending religious events, dressing more modestly, sitting quietly during prayers, but it was never enough. One night, exhausted by the pressure, she whispered, Adnan, you're losing me. If you keep forcing me, I don't know how much longer I can stay. Her words struck him, but instead of softening, he hardened further. Two storms were colliding, the secret $600,000 gambling debt and the pressure he placed on her to convert. What he didn't realize was that both were pushing her away. Tigerlily began to feel like a prisoner, trapped in a marriage where her freedom, choices, and beliefs were being stripped away. Soon, the secret he had buried would burst open. Secrets have a way of surfacing. For months, Adnan juggled lies, excuses, and sleepless nights, trying to hide his gambling losses. But the cracks in his facade were impossible to ignore. Tigerlily, observant and intuitive, began piecing together clues. It started with odd phone calls. Adnan would step outside, speaking quickly in Arabic. When she asked who it was, he brushed it off. Just business. But his tense expression said otherwise. One night, after another late call, Tiger noticed his hands trembling as he slipped his phone into his pocket. She touched his arm gently. Adnan, what's going on? He snapped, I told you business. Don't ask again. The sharpness left her stunned, but she knew something was very wrong. Weeks later, the moment of truth came. Tigerlily went through the household mail and found a thick envelope addressed to Adnan. Curious, she placed it on the table, waiting for him, but he avoided it. Hours passed. Finally, after he stepped out for a shower, she opened it. Inside were pages of bank statements, online casino deposits, betting platform charges, overdue loans. The total balance due, $598,742.19. Tigerlily froze, hands shaking. $600,000, she whispered, tears streaming. How could this be real? When Adnan returned, towel over his shoulders, he saw the statement. Her face was pale, eyes full of betrayal. Tell me this isn't true, she demanded. Adnan's voice cracked. True. Don't lie to me. $600,000? Gambling loans? Is this who you really are? She cried. He tried to grab the papers, but she pulled them away. I trusted you, she said. All this time, you've been lying, pretending we're fine while drowning us in debt. He buried his face in his hands. I thought I could fix it. One win would solve everything. I didn't want to lose you. You already lost me the moment you chose lies over honesty, Tigerlily whispered. That night marked the breaking point. She could no longer see the man she had loved. Instead, she saw a stranger consumed by addiction, chained to debt, willing to drag her down with him. The days that followed were unbearable. Adnan alternated between begging for forgiveness and lashing out. He promised to repay everything, to quit gambling, to rebuild their lives. But each promise felt hollow. At one point, he even blamed her. If you supported me, if you trusted me, I wouldn't have needed to hide this. Tigerlily's heart shattered. Don't dare blame me for your choices. This isn't my sin, it's yours. Debt collectors arrived. Letters, phone calls, threats of lawsuits. Adnan scrambled to call friends, lenders, anyone who might help. But his reputation was stained. One evening, a man in a dark suit appeared at their door, handing official documents. A lawsuit notice. Adnan had defaulted, and court proceedings were underway. Tigerlily's stomach dropped. This was no longer just numbers on paper, it was real. Stress consumed their marriage. Meals went uneaten. Nights were spent in silence. The warmth of their home vanished, replaced by tension and fear. Tigerlily began sleeping in a separate room, unable to bear the sight of the man she no longer recognized. She confided in her mother, breaking down in tears. I don't know who he is anymore. I don't know how much more I can take. Her mother's voice was gentle but firm. Love doesn't mean destroying yourself for someone else's mistakes. Think about your future. For the first time, Tigerlily realized that future might not include Adnan. The final straw came during another argument. I can't pay this, Adnan admitted, pale. It's too big. They'll take everything. What do you expect me to do? Tigerlily snapped. Pay for you? Fix the mess you created. His eyes burned with desperation. Yes, you can help me. You have money. Your family has money. If you love me, you'll do this for me. Her body went cold. You lied to me, pressured me to change my faith, and buried me in your lies. And now you want me to save you? She shook her head, tears streaming.
No, Adnan.
I won't be your lifeline anymore. The truth was out. Their marriage, once filled with love and promise, had become a battlefield of betrayal and broken trust. For Adnan, the lawsuit was just the beginning. For Tigerlily, it was the moment she quietly, painfully decided she needed to walk away. The $600,000 debt wasn't just financial, it was the final nail in the coffin of their relationship. Soon, the law would crash down on Adnan, sealing his fate in ways he could no longer control. After the lawsuit, Adnan's world began to collapse. The glamorous life he had built with Tigerlily, the vacations, the designer clothes, the carefully crafted image of control, all of it started to crumble. Debt collectors called relentlessly. Banks sent threatening letters. Friends who had once admired him now kept their distance. Every day felt like walking on a tightrope over a pit of fire. Adnan tried everything to regain control. He made frantic phone calls, begged for extensions, even offered personal possessions as collateral. But the weight of nearly $600,000 in debt was crushing him, and no amount of charm could save him now. The stress leaked into every part of their lives. Nights were sleepless, mornings were tense, and the constant financial pressure made every conversation a potential battle. Tigerlily, meanwhile, found herself in an impossible position. She still loved the man she had met in Dubai, the man who had made her feel like the only person in the world. But the man in front of her now was a stranger, one consumed by addiction, lies, and desperation. The house they shared, once a place of laughter and intimacy, had become a prison of fear and anxiety. She couldn't relax, couldn't trust, couldn't see a future with him. Despite the growing distance, Adnan refused to fully admit defeat. He clung to Tigerlily's love as though it were a lifeline. If we can just get through this, he pleaded, everything will go back to the way it was. I'll pay it all back. I'll quit gambling. I swear. But Tigerlily had seen the pattern of deception. Every promise had come with a lie, every confession was half-truth, every apology was temporary. The trust was gone. As the weeks passed, the tension escalated. Arguments became daily occurrences. Minor disagreements turned explosive. Even the smallest issue, a misplaced receipt, a late phone call, a forgotten task, could trigger hours-long fights. Tigerlily tried to stay calm, tried to reason with him, but the house was filled with unspoken threats and silent resentment. Then came the day the court finally summoned Adnan. The reality of his actions could no longer be hidden. He had to face the legal consequences. Tigerlily accompanied him, but the support she once felt for him had vanished. In the courtroom, Adnan's facade cracked completely. The confident, charming man everyone saw on television was gone, replaced by a nervous, pleading figure who could no longer control his life or his marriage. The verdict was swift. 6 months in prison. Adnan would have to pay restitution, and the debt collectors would continue their relentless pursuit. For Tigerlily, this was confirmation. She had survived, but the life she had imagined with him was over. She realized she needed to step away, to reclaim her freedom, to heal from the betrayal and stress that had haunted her for months. After the prison sentence, Tigerlily began the slow process of rebuilding her life. She moved out, found her own space, and surrounded herself with friends who offered support rather than judgment. She returned to her passions, her modeling, her social life, and slowly, she began to feel like herself again. But the scars of betrayal lingered. Every memory of their early romance was now shadowed by the debt, the lies, and the constant pressure she had endured. In time, Tigerlily found love again. She met Cody, a man who accepted her without demanding she change who she was. With him, religion wasn't a tool for control, it was personal choice. With him, there was trust instead of manipulation, respect instead of pressure, and stability instead of chaos. Slowly, the laughter returned to her life, replacing the fear and tension that had defined her final months with Adnan. For Adnan, life after prison was difficult. The public exposure of his gambling debt damaged his reputation, and many doors were closed. He had lost Tigerlily, and with it, the carefully crafted image of success he had maintained. The consequences of his choices were clear: money lost, trust broken, freedom restricted. He became a cautionary tale, a vivid example of how addiction and deceit can destroy not only finances, but relationships, careers, and lives. Looking back, the story of Adnan Abdel Fattah and Tigerlily Taylor is one of contrasts: love and betrayal, faith and control, risk and consequence. Tigerlily entered the relationship full of hope and admiration, but she left it with painful lessons about trust, independence, and self-respect. Adnan entered seeking connection and control, but he left it with legal consequences, isolation, and the reality that no amount of charm can mask dishonesty forever. Their story also highlights how hidden addictions can silently destroy relationships. Gambling, especially online, can be invisible to the outside world. The risks and stakes feel private, but the consequences spill over into every part of life. Tigerlily's struggle illustrates how a partner can be manipulated under the guise of love, faith, or commitment, only to find themselves trapped in a cycle of fear and obligation. In the end, Tigerlily's rebirth is a story of resilience. She survived betrayal, debt, and emotional manipulation. She reclaimed her life and her independence. She chose love again, this time with someone who offered respect and partnership instead of control and deceit. Adnan, on the other hand, became a cautionary tale about the dangers of addiction, secrecy, and coercion. Even now, years later, the story resonates with viewers. It's a reminder that behind the glossy images of reality TV, real people face real struggles. Not every love story ends in happily ever after. Sometimes, love collides with deception, and the fallout is painful, messy, and public. But as Tigerlily's journey shows, even after betrayal and hardship, it is possible to find hope, rebuild, and create a new life, stronger, wiser, and free. This story also serves as a warning for those who chase appearances over honesty. Adnan's life looked perfect on the outside, but the reality was a complex web of lies, debt, and emotional manipulation. Tigerlily's courage to walk away and build a new life underscores that integrity, self-respect, and emotional well-being matter far more than maintaining a facade. Their saga, romance, addiction, betrayal, and rebirth remains one of the most compelling cautionary tales in reality TV history. It's not just about a $600,000 debt or a prison sentence. It's about choices, consequences, and the profound impact that secrecy and coercion can have on love and trust. Tigerlily's story didn't end with heartbreak. It ended with a second chance, one earned through courage, awareness, and the refusal to accept manipulation as love. And Adnan's story didn't end with glamour. It ended with consequences, reflection, and the reality that the consequences of one's actions are inescapable. In the end, the story of Adnan Abdel Fattah and Tigerlily Taylor reminds us that love, faith, and money can collide in ways we never anticipate. It's a tale of risk and reward, hope and despair, control and freedom. And while one marriage